Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brace for Impact. We are on episode 33 now, right? Episode 33? Yes, we are. Oh my goodness, I can
33, right?
count. I can count. And,
I can't remember.
I... no, it's been a week since the last episode, just because of travel and everything. We're kind of wrapping
Yeah.
everything together. The holiday season is weird, and trying to discover time to get together to make these episodes is always a bit difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I cranked in a 7.5 hour stream yesterday, Benny. I went 7 and
I
1.
saw
I
I
rocked.
talked to you in your stream about
Yeah,
like when are
yeah,
we recording BFI? And then 3 hours later I went live and you were
yeah,
still streaming. I was
yeah.
like, "Oh." And then I think I finished and you were still streaming. I was like, "Oh,
The
okay."
game, dude. I was
So,
gaming yesterday. I went 7 and 1.
yeah.
I'm out of level 1, Benny. I'm out of
Yeah,
level 1.
nice.
I'm like
Nice.
securely out of level 1. I was out of level 1
Nice.
for a little bit before. Now we're truly out
Now
of
that you're
level
out of
1.
level 1, you can officially apply to become a coach now. A little bit of
A
foreshadowing.
little bit of foreshadowing.
But more on that in a minute. How was your Christmas, by the way?
It was
Tell
good.
the viewers.
No, I went to a range. I shot some guns for the first time in a
I saw. It
very
looked
long
fun.
time. I was the best shooter for the shotgun. My family overall are very, very good shooters, so we had
So
a
what
we
you're
had a ton of
saying
fun.
is they should have used you in Stash Masters season 5.
I played Stash Masters. I did
Yeah.
rather well for my team. I mean, I'm no Olia or Ellie, but or
Yeah,
Frag.
yeah.
Those
No,
those
I
guys
meant
Frag.
the challenge, the actual challenge they had in the
Oh,
backyard where they were shooting the BB
yeah.
gun.
I always every year I ask, I'm like, hey guys, like I'm only in like Southern Ontario. I could probably drive down or like catch a quick
That's a
flight or something.
long drive,
I don't think
though.
it'd be
I've
too
done
too
that drive
bad.
in a day. That's a long drive.
Yeah.
But
And they were like, oh, we just don't have space. I'm like, damn it. Okay, it's fine.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
them. I love them. It doesn't even matter to me, honestly. It's always one of those things. Like,
Yep.
hey, I'd love to hang out with you guys for a weekend. Maybe cool. No, we'll
It's
catch
all
you in the
good.
next one. Don't you worry.
Maybe 1 year
I'll be
parts,
here.
maybe
I'll be
1
here clipping stuff for you. Don't you worry. No problems.
Yep. Yep.
Speaking of clipping and stuff, doesn't make any sense at all. Cash cups. That's the worst one I've had
That
yet.
is
The
that's
worst
yeah,
attempted
yeah.
segue ever.
That's shout out to the end of year 2 best bits 'cause that's going straight in
That's
there.
mark it now.
Yeah.
We'll drop a little pin on this one. That's what you got to do. You got to
So
go through the episodes as we do them and grab
yeah,
like
yeah,
links or
yeah.
something. That'd be great.
So
Um,
anyway, let's get into the cash cup, shall we? And as a previous episode, let's start where the cash cups didn't. Asia, it got canceled again. So yeah, it's they actually came out with a poll. I don't know if you saw
they
that in your
did
Discord.
trying to figure out
And they're
what to
like, hey,
do.
we just kind of figure out like what's going on with these because nobody's playing in them. Maybe you should offer them a little more money than just $500. I mean, that kind of, you know what I mean? Even with the exchange rate, it's not really that great, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, it is good money, but
Or
it's like,
maybe let's turn down the frequency of them a little bit. Let's add something extra in there. Maybe I don't know. Like my number one issue is HSG never haven't played in them for a really long time, and I know
yeah,
for them it's like they're sitting there like, well, it's easy money or whatever. Like I don't want to do this, but at least being interested in showing as the best women's team in Asia, showing some interest would be great.
yeah,
And
especially given
personally,
that ESL say they are watching the spots.
yeah,
You know, what I mean? Like the
and
cash cup.
they cut season 6's Asia qualifier. They should have put it somewhere else, but who cares? Whatever. We've already gone over that time and time again. Oceania.
Yeah.
2 teams strong, 2 cash cups strong. Yarp versus Cash in the first one.
Oh, we're doing 2?
Yeah, isn't there the...
Is it 2?
Yeah,
I thought it was just the one.
It was December 2nd, and we had December 16th. We had the 2 weekends
Okay.
because I was on... we did the primer for Valencia instead of the cash
You're
cups.
right. We did 4 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do 6 and 7 now.
So
Like you said, 6 Stacks in Yarp.
and
And
Yarp won this one out.
yes.
Pretty cool. 11-13 on the 13-11 to Cash, and then 13-5, 13-11 on Overpass and Vertigo for Yarp. Pretty cool. They finally catch a W, and as a result, there was a team renaming that happened in number 7. Yarp came back strong, and they were facing off against Akai Bowl.
Yes.
Which is Artemis, Chicken Loaf, Soko, Miji, and Turkey Swag, going up against Arya, Maddie, Noogs, Strawbelly, and Bones. and 13-8 on Overpass on Inferno, and then a 19-17 on Overpass. Akai won that one. OT Pass lives strong in CS2.
Yeah,
I
this
keep making this comment, like, overtimes seem way more common in Counter-Strike 2. I don't know if it's just me.
I think it's a probability thing. I think if you take away the number of rounds, the probability of overtime is higher, right? Because how many games have you seen that have been like 11-11 and then a team runs away with it like 16-13?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't get that in CS too, because if that happens, more than likely, you get to that 13-13, and guess what? You're in the middle of an overtime, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a probability thing. You're right, but it makes the games more exciting, I think. But I'm okay with it. I still like MR12 better, but I was upset at this Cash Cup because I had messaged the Discord and I'm like, "Are you guys playing?" And
And they just didn't say anything, did
Bones was like, "Let me get back to you," right?
And
And
they
it was
never
like
did.
10 p.m. and I had my hand on my keyboard
Yeah.
and I fell asleep because I actually
Oh,
had it up in my
no.
room that week.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep on my hand and I woke up and the computer screen staring at me, and Bones messaged me at 12:05 going, "Yeah, we're playing." And I launched Kimbab stream and I'm like, "Oh, we're in the overtime on the second map already." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." It's just 2 a.m. So
Yeah. It's a
with
little
my
late.
arm asleep, I was like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
The
I
things
had
we
to use
do,
my left
right?
hand because my right hand wouldn't lift off the keyboard. It was just dead for like a good minute and a half.
The things we do,
So
right? The things we do.
yeah.
So moving over to South Africa then. Only one cash cup here. The cash cup number 7 was canceled. Cash cup number 6, we had 2 teams. It was ATK going up against White Rabbit Morales. 13-9 on Vertigo, 13-8 on Overpass. ATK take that one handily, and they enjoy a little bit extra of a break for an extended break
Yeah.
because of course we're going to wait until the new year. Moving on to South America then. We've got 2 going through. So it was MIBR going up against X Divina in the first one, and they were using Luliten's MIBR in this one.
Yes.
They won 13-11, 13-7 against X Divina. So cool on that one. And then they move over to W7M versus Penela du Rush.
Yep.
Which was Isa, Gabi, Fly, Xena, Percy, and so one MIBR player, 2 Furia players. I like how you sometimes leave me out to dry on those ones. Like, just let him screw up if he does.
No, I mean, that's perfect. So
thank you.
13
to 11 on Nuke, 13-10 on Mirage.
Yeah, and so it's just one of these things where I think around December most of the teams were trying to finish their Gamers Club event because they were postponed. Like their matches were postponed because of the tournament in
Valencia.
Where was the final? Valencia. Thank you. So, but yeah, we'll leave North America for last. Let's go over to Europe, shall we?
Okay.
Interesting. And this number 6 I thought was really interesting because we had 9 pandas, although they had a stand-in. They had Landsberg in.
Yeah.
For Shu, you had One Wing Gang. You had Forza Ladies. Right. Which I totally even forgot that they had a ladies' side. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then you had Spirit female as well.
Yeah.
Which is completely different. Like Ulis is in it, Verona, Rianka, Tenweri, and Jami, right?
Right.
So it came down to Spirit and Forza in the semifinals on one side. 2-1 for Forza. 13-5, 8-13, 16-14, so very good series. 9 pandas with the standard would lose to Wolf. 10-13, 13-3, 19-22 on Ancient. So I see your OT pass, and I raise you Ancient.
Ancient.
Yeah. So
that's great.
OT Chint? I don't know. OT?
No,
it doesn't work that well.
Ancient.
Yeah, I like that.
Ancient.
But anyway, Forza in the final 16-14, 13-7.
Nice.
Mirage and Vertigo. So Forza ladies picking up a win. And then we got Cash Cup number 7. And we had a few of these. Partisan Red, you remember, played in a lot of those fast cups we used to talk about,
yes.
which I haven't kept track of. Actually, I don't think they have played in a while, but I haven't kept track of them. Snowguard, remember we mentioned them a few podcasts. They were in this one. They actually played Spirit again in the quarterfinals. Got rolled by them 13-1. Spirit with 2-0 Endless 13-6, 13-3, which oddly enough, Landsberg was on that Endless side. Then a team called Mina with obviously Monkey to Julie, or just Julie now.
Yep.
Emerald, Emmy, Spike, and Kaori. You'll remember Spike, Ex-Astralis. Emerald, veteran of the scene. Same with Julie. And then they won over Radi Yerbal, which is a fully Russian side. And then in the final, 13-11 for Spirit, 2-0 on Inferno and Mirage. And it was the NA map pool in that final. Inferno, Mirage, Overpass not required, though. Spirit have finally won a Cash Cup.
There we go.
Spirit have won another Cash Cup. I want to say it's only their second, but I'm not 100% sure.
We can scroll through a little bit.
I just did, and it is their first.
Yeah.
It's their first. So,
okay.
Big fan of the fact that Jammy has won a Cash Cup. So,
huge.
So, congratulations.
2 points that I'm kind of looking at here. One.
Yep.
Either there are now 2 Lolitas in the universe, because there was one with a Norwegian flag in number 7 and another one with a German flag in number 6.
Yes.
Or she's just going worldwide. She's going international, I think, is where...
She's Pitbull? Is that what it is? She's Pitbull.
Miss Worldwide. I just thought that was interesting. She played with Venom.
No, there is actually 2 Lolitas, believe it or not. They're 2 different people.
This is not I'm not okay with that. This is like on the Nikos all over again, where you have like 4 different Nikos, and it's like, why? Why? Like, you know each other. Change your names.
Yeah. This is like it's almost like Brazil. Gabi, Gabe, Gabs.
The only
Lulu,
other
Malulu, Luli Tens.
The only other interesting one I have to say is Team Rizzler. Fatal from 9 Pandas
What a great name, by the way.
I'm not even gonna begin, because like I'm 23 and like I feel too old for some of those words. Like, you talk to Apples at all? Like, she like all the new words, you know, like Gat and Rizzler and Skibidi Toilet and Ohio. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Stop.
You know what? Welcome to the last 10 years of my life, Parks. What are you talking about?
Anyways, Fatal notably was on this roster, as well as Maneskin coming back to
and
play.
Missy.
And
Yoon.
And listen, I'm not saying that one because there's too many X's in there. I'm gonna mess it up.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. But listen, look, I want everyone to take one little tiny thing. I'm gonna just pluck out a pet peeve here.
Okay.
You see that Portuguese player on this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how to pronounce her name.
Mm-hmm.
Help me out here. Say her name. Exactly, right? So that's Portuguese. So you get the Brazilian Portuguese, and you have Yungher. Her last name is Yungh.
Younger.
It's not Younger. It's Junger. Junger. Please. I'm begging English commentators. You all can look at a YUN name in Portuguese and say, oh, it's probably Yoon, right?
Counterpoint. My language, my choice.
Counterpoint. Her name is not in your language, and it should not be your choice. You should try to pronounce it correctly. But this is coming from the man who had a pronunciation sheet for players. Bruh, anyway.
It lasted all of a month, and then I gave up because I couldn't fucking figure it out. So there's my swear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
there's
done.
your swear. So anyway, that's Europe. Let's go over to North America for sake of time. We had number 6, which was Shimmer versus Friend, which was Catalyst. You remember Catalyst. Power was on the side as well. Cloudy, Gone, Gadfly.
Yep.
Shimmer with 2-0, 13-5, 13-11. I almost said 16 there, like it's CSGO. Still taking me a while. Nouns played in this one, by the way, over Wanted, Goons, Bandits. Shout out Reef and JD as well. And actually all the girls on that side. Fantastic side. Of course, Pippi, Sippy, Mama, Alien, Tippy, the other 3. Nouns, Ash, Rice, Lunari, Rainy, Arianarchist subbed in for this side.
Yeah, she's been subbing in for them while Bella's been taking an extended break from the game. I think she was traveling. I
Right.
could be wrong, but yeah, no.
Right.
Nouns
Cool.
Nouns look pretty good, and I mean
Yeah.
they brought it forward. 13-4 Vertigo to Shimmer, 13-10 Mirage to Nouns, and then of course they had to go to a third map. 13-10 Overpass to Shimmer.
Right. I
They win
didn't
this
go
one
over
out.
the semifinal results, and that's after a 13-2, 13-9 win for Nouns over Wanted Goons Bandits. So it was a good final, though, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But big shout out to Arianarchist because absolutely one of the Arianarchist is one of the most adorable, nicest people in the North American scene, in Val and in CS, right? In anything that she's played, she's just super easy to talk to. Absolutely love her to death, and I don't get the chance to see her compete enough because I don't follow Valorant, right? It's that's a me thing.
Yeah.
But it's great to see her pick up the game and
Mhm.
and play and sub in and do well as well for Nouns.
Yeah, and I mean she's been playing for a few iterations of the Cash Cup, just kind of
Yes.
in pug teams and all that kind of stuff. Nothing really, but it's cool to see her kind of sticking with Nouns for a little bit. And then we come to the number 7, which was a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
By the way,
more,
just to say something here, because we talked about the teams earlier with a few of them getting canceled. North America had both of these had 7 teams come through. Now, bear in mind a bunch of those are pug teams in their last minutes, but I mean we're still the second strongest region when it comes to Cash Cup participation. So I just think that needs to be mentioned.
Mate, because NA could produce 30 teams and ESL will just turn the other cheek.
I
Mate.
know.
You.
It upsets me, and it will continue to upset me. Anyways,
It agitates the living daylights out of me. So anyway, let's get into the semifinal, shall we?
Tsunami Sirens going up against Friend, and Friend was pretty much the same roster as last time. I mean, actually, not really. They had a few players that were the same. There was Gone, Gadfly, Catalyst, Cloudy, and Lady Lotus.
Yes.
So Catalyst and Cloudy.
Lady Lotus was in for power.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then Nouns came back. This time, they were missing Rice. They subbed Mega Geese in instead. Shout out Mega Geese. I have to shout her out every single time now because I discovered years ago, probably at the height of Mythic, kind of as a streaming team, we played in a bunch of 10-mans against each other and with each other in one of the streamers' games. And I was like, wait, that's a cobblestone match. That's like 5 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah.
I got beat up real bad. I've never been good at this game, Benny, and that will always hold true. The final team kind of joining in was Chalky Milk, which was an interesting mix, and you could kind of tell, you could kind of see that it was kind of a funny roster to begin with. And it was Empathy, LX, Phoebe from Shimmer. They were joined by Chigan, who has recently been benched by Tsunami Sirens, and then Vanessa as the 5th to come in. And of course, this follows some other news that we'll get to eventually. But of course, Abby having her wrist fissure, she wasn't able to play, so they were looking for 2. Coming into the results then, Tsunami Sirens going up against Friend. 13-1, 13-3 for Sirens. They kind of just cleaned up. And then Chalky Milk on the other side. This match was a really good one. You basically got the grand final of the edition before in the semifinal. It was a 19-16 on Anubis and a 16-14 on Ancient. They did not need to go to Mirage. Chalky Milk won that one out. Very close matchup though. And that kind of, I don't know, I'm sitting there watching that, I'm going
for the final.
It set the tone for the final, but it also, like, as a preview, like a preview, like months in advance, like, Nouns are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So then we get to the grand final. Tsunami Sirens going up against Chalky Milk. Ancient is a 22-19 affair. And then Vertigo is 16-14. We could not stop the MR15 plus extra coming through on this one.
You ever see the picture of Drewski and he's just like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Or he's just like,
oh yeah.
That's how I feel with you. Yeah, that's how I feel with you when you were just like, I feel like there's more overtimes because then I just remembered these 2 series. I'm just like Drewski right now, bro. I'm like, yo. I don't know
I
take it all back, bro.
Yeah.
I take
it's
it
anecdotal.
All back.
It's anecdotal, but it feels right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all the Cash Cups, and that gets us to the end of the year. That is the end of the 2023 competitive season. Woo! Now that leaves us with a good amount of time to go through the news.
Let's start in one of my favorite regions, shall we? Let's start in South America. that I always find is a hard edit that's not going to be edited out. Let's start.
Let's start.
Let's start in South America, though, right?
Yeah.
It's the announcement that Gamers Club are doing something really interesting, right?
Ooh, I like interesting
And
things.
that is they're introducing a Gamers Club Academy, right? And
Right.
this was, if you watched Gamers Club and you watched Masters Feminine 8, you watched my stream, you would have seen Gio, the commentator down there, promoting this, right? That
Right.
they're going to do this Gamers Club Academy. And what they do is they get these professional players to come in and they teach courses, right? And it's not one-on-one. They're not individual courses, right? But they make videos and they talk about the aspects of like whatever
Right.
you're playing.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of
to
like
start,
what are those what's the like Chris Hadfield and a bunch of other like smart people, Neil deGrasse they had Brilliant, I think it is. Not Brilliant. But like they had
The
Masterclass.
yes,
That-
Masterclass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did the
it's
Masterclass.
exactly like
It's
that,
exactly like that. That's what it
yes.
reminded me of
And
instantly.
So Gamers Club announced, that's a really good comparison, by the way. Gamers
Yeah.
Club announced that their first episode is on in-game leading, and it was composed by Goddess from Fluxo Demons. So
That's pretty cool.
she talks about like when to save, how to know to save, how to
Yeah.
analyze demos, like how to discover tech. And that's what I think is really neat, is a lot of people in the scene, right, will go and say like, you want to develop your playbook and you want to analyze demos, but they don't actually tell you like what to look for when you
Yeah.
analyze a demo. You know what I mean? You just kind of analyze it's like, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
You kind of just stare at the screen for a little bit and hope that something will stick.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Marina goes through, Goddess, I should say, actually goes through and says, this is what I look for when I'm looking at demos. This is what I try to dissect when I'm looking at demos. This is what I try to do when I'm developing new plays and strategies, right? Which I think is great. So it's a great initiative from Gamers Club. It's going to involve, I mean, people from all over, not just the women's scene, right? But to kick it off, I think is really good, and she is a very solid in-game leader to do so. So super happy to see that. Moving on, let's get into some of the actual roster moves.
Yes.
And we're going to start with actually MIBR's coach, CBL, who announced that he is now a free agent. He's open to offers in both the mixed and the female scenes as a head coach, an assistant coach, or an analyst. But yes, CBL in MIBR is a free agent, and I think he's done well. I think the team really have seen a small resurgence towards the end of his tenure, I should say, there. So I actually think, he would be a pretty good pickup for a lot of these teams in Brazil that are looking for a coach.
Yeah, a very interesting time because he's left himself open long enough that there's potential for him to be signed by another organization within Impact, and of course it's in between seasons as well for everybody else in Brazil. So he's picked a good time for the contract to end and to really put himself out there, which is good to see. I mean, you want some kind of movement. You don't want to just get stuck with the same things over and over again. You want to have something fresh come through. It'll be interesting to see how MIBR bounce as a result of the coaching change, because we know the coaching changes can be huge, especially in the Impact scene. Moving on, then continuing with MIBR actually. This J is screwing me up.
China.
Yes, I was gonna say that, but then the J is like.
Yes.
Yeah, China announces that she is a free agent for 2024. No contractual obligations. She is her time with MIBR has come to an end. So, a very experienced Argentinian player who did very well. I'd like to say. I think the MIBR squad was really well put together with the Argentinians playing with them. And
I'm actually kind of surprised that they're kind of because they started to come on really strong at the end.
Yeah.
Well, but they didn't. I think the big thing is, remember, they did get relegated. So like they do have to requalify.
But again, that's not. I don't think that's much of an issue. I think it's mostly.
I don't think it is either.
I think it was one of those things of just like maybe she wanted to try something new. Maybe there was difference on the direction that they wanted to go, or maybe it was also the loss of the coach. The coaching change might have been something there. That's all speculation, though. I wish Gina the best. I think she'll land on her feet quite quickly because as deep as the Brazilian scene is, like you got a player that's coming in from MIBR, people are going to take notice and they're going to form rosters with that together.
Yeah. People wondering, by the way, 2 second place finishes last year. Masters Femenina 8, which just happened a month ago, over Fluxo Demons, mind you, and also second with Team Argentina at IESF World Championships.
Huge.
So
Argentina was very good at IESF.
They were really good in that tournament.
I think that shows. Is there any more like big roster announcements in South America?
I kind of lumped this one together in terms of the South African region because
I'm cool to continue with this then.
Right, because we do have some big moves later that we want to talk a little bit more about, maybe. Yeah. The first is that Dust2 Brazil posted an article basically saying that Olga is open to a Brazilian return. Now, she did state in the article that she is committed to HSG, and they are definitely having a go at Season 5. They do have a spot. Asia does have a qualifier spot in Season 5. But that with the tournament not giving Asia or any of the minor regions anything, in fact, any of the regions outside of Europe, anything, really, that she's got to think about where she's going to compete, right?
Right.
And she says if HSG decide to take the team to Europe, she would be very happy with that.
Yes, that was the other thing I was going to say was HSG are looking for a European movement, which,
mate, if you're in Europe, you better, and you think that if you're one of these other teams looking at HSG potentially moving in, and you're like, nah, we'll be okay. They're gonna tear that ass up. You're gonna so good in that region.
You gotta watch out. You especially watch what they do in the finals, and every single time we come back, we go, nah, we'll be fine. It's not true anymore. There might have been a crack during Dallas, but that was a lot of jet lag that held them back there. You look at them in Valencia when they had rest, like that's what they'll perform like. Almost every single time.
I was gonna say, you know what? They got to start the Mind Freak villain arc. You know what I mean? You know how Mind Freak came to America? I would love it if HSG went to Europe and took one of the European spots away.
That'd be hilarious.
Just absolutely clap everybody. Yeah, that would be great. But she said, look, if it's not possible, then I mean, she wants to compete, so it would be open to a return to Brazil, then knowing that they still have a spot in Season 6. Granted, it's actually, they have 2 spots in Season 6, but because NA gets
so they get NA gets the boot in Season 6, and that opens up the potential for another South American team.
So it's interesting.
It's a very interesting thing to ponder. We're gonna move on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
more news. Yeah. Lots of news coming in from Brazil.
The last piece of news coming out of Brazil. We mentioned it on the last parks that. Premier Brazil had 3 women that they were looking at for the CS Women's Player of the Year. Ka was one, Gobs was or Bobs, I should say, was the other, and the third was
I want to say it was Junger, but I could be wrong.
Yes, it was Junger. You're correct. And I had said I think Bobs should get it, but it has gone to Furious Offer. Ka has won Premier Brazil's Women's Counter-Strike Player of the Year. I'm not gonna say she doesn't deserve. She 100% deserves.
Yeah.
She puts in an insane amount of work. So big congratulations, gosh. She looked unbelievably happy when she walked on the stage. Like
I'm looking at the photo right now, just kind of holding her, like she's holding the award, and she is still like trying to smile and talk at the same time, which is that just shows how amazing. She posted
a photo afterwards with the award, and she's like, frame it because it's the only time I'll ever wear a dress. I'm like, I've never seen Ka in anything but like a sweatshirt, things like that. You know what I mean? Like
that's the gamer lifestyle. You got the gamer lifestyle.
You're totally right. But so big congratulations to Ka on winning that award, and it's thoroughly deserved. I think she's been great. So
huge.
Really, her and like Gabi and Issa are really the mold that's kept Furia together through a lot of ups and downs the last 2 years. So big congratulations to her.
Moving on then, we've got an interesting piece of news. We're heading a little bit farther north here, heading into Latin America now. Gamer Girl Pro, Esports Federation, their festivals. Hey, how many times have we complained about these and said funny things and said, man, this is really weird that they keep doing these weird things? Day before the event in Mexico City, after consulting with our local partner Twake to ensure that participants have the best possible experience at the LAN event, Girl Gamer Mexico Festival has been rescheduled to March 3rd, 2024. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to a great festival. A day before.
Why wait a day before? So they are very lucky that they did not start flying people to the event before they postponed it.
Yep.
Like that's the risk you take. You know what I mean? Like that's the risk you take. Like I don't know which teams would have been there. I didn't follow it closely enough with everything else going on, mainly Valencia.
Yeah.
But and Masters Femenina the month before. But like I just we have said before on this podcast that these tournaments seem to be very haphazardly slapped together. And
Yes.
I like the initiative that Gamer Girl has. I like that they've run events all around the world. I think they've done what other TOs are afraid to do or don't have the money to do or just won't do for ignorance sake, whether that's purposeful or just coincidental ignorance. And they've gone into regions, Cape Town, Mexico City, Romania. They've run tournaments there. I think it's fantastic. They've gone to they went to Tokyo for one year. They went to Korea this year. I think it's great.
The tournaments themselves,
right?
The idea of having tournaments are great. The problem is
they're in locations that need exposure. I think
exactly. Yeah.
But the problem is they tend to be so poorly run. Like
they
just
feel
so
slapped together last second, which is not the
Yeah.
feeling you want to give these players and the teams when they come, because you want them to have a good experience so that they clamor for those to come back, and you can build up an audience, build up a base at which you can really work on these events all around.
And it hasn't changed. I mean,
No.
I watched the first Gamer Girl event in 2018, 2019, I want to say. And that was the Dubai Festival. I think it was 2018. And I watched for the League of Legends event. I didn't watch the CS. Dignitas went there. And they played Assassins, which was Vilga's side before, Enigma Galaxy came and swooped them up. Actually, they played so well there, Assassins, that Enigma Galaxy came in and literally swooped them up. And they were Galaxy Racer back then, and they were actually sponsored by the same owner that owns Girl Gamer. Which is why they always get invited to those events, if you're ever wondering. But the thing is, like,
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But like, I watched Caltis there for the League of Legends event for the first time. Great ADC, right? Plays for G2 Hell. She was 17 in that tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is, I think, 22 now. Okay, so that shows you how long it has been, and these events are still a mess.
Yeah.
So 5 years of experience, and they're
nothing has been
still sloppy. Like
yeah.
I'm like, why? So look, it's unfortunate. I hope the event does go on in March. I hope whatever happened for a good reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's very shrouded in mystery, as most of these events tend to be. But it's so odd to wait till the day before the event starts to say, hey, you know what? Give us 3 more months.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, you sit there and you're like, if somebody comes in a day early for that weekend, like, it just turns into a regular vacation. But now all of a sudden they may have their peripherals with them. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But we'll move on, because there's not really much more we can say for them, because they do as they do, and you've just kind of at this point we just have to learn to accept they're not going to be the best run events. The good part is that they're at least trying to show exposure.
Yeah.
Keeping on with the dour news, I'm going to say, we're going to move towards Europe. After 469 days, we bid for partially a nice number, by the way. We bid farewell to one of the original NIP Impact members. Astra is officially out with the NIP crowd. Should be looking for team moving forward. And Eric Wendell had something to say regarding
Eric
this.
Wendell?
Eric Wendell is he's the director of esports at NIP. And he said, Astra has been with us from the start. One of the best players. Why did we go our separate ways to let her grow elsewhere? We both agreed it's time for her to try a new path. She'll always be in our hearts. So I think where this comes in is her contract was probably on the way to finishing, and she said, I'm looking for something new after maybe not feeling the most success coming through on the NIP side, which they played really well. I think this season was a bit underwhelming for them considering how they were last season. But if you're looking, you're going, I'm a good player. I've shown myself to prove. I've proven myself. I think I'm ready to try something else. And so that's what she's
Yeah,
doing.
you don't blame her. It's one of these things where she's very, and the other players on the roster are good, but she is
Yeah.
very clearly the best player on that team.
Yeah.
And they were really good in season 3, and they just missed out at the end. And it's something where she is arguably in the top 5 AWPers in the world right now. If you think
Yeah.
of top 5 AWPers, you're thinking Junger in no order. You're thinking like a Junger, definitely Anna's in there,
Yeah.
right? Cowday's in there. You could probably say Ka's in there, and then where do you go? You go to Astra, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where she is just electrifying as a player, right? And NIP has not been the environment where she can get to the lands where she wants to compete, and
Yeah.
she's good enough to do that. So she needs to go off on her own. And NIP have kind of, I mean, you're right. It might be the contract's up because it's the end of the season, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just one of these things where, okay, fine. You know what I mean? That's look.
It's time for the changes
Yeah,
happening
you
here.
gave us 2 years of excellence.
Yeah.
It's time. Good luck, but we understand, and
Yeah.
that's
100%.
I think what's happened here. So, arguably though, Parks,
Yes.
she is 100% the hottest free agent on the market. Like, if you need firepower,
There it is. Right there.
100. Like if any team is remotely close to needing an offer, Asha should be the player that you should be. Teams should be throwing whatever they can to get her.
Yeah.
Because she will absolutely take him to the next level. Like, that's how good she is. I think she's proven that domestically. It's just she's not had the other pieces on the team to get to the finals. And it's interesting that this has happened with the expansion of Europe, though, because now I'm like, I mean, I would say NIP were at risk
Yeah.
of not qualifying even with the expanded spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Biggie Keeper are definitely in that. One Win Gang looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at it going, NIP. There's a word, but NIP finished 6 out of the 5.
Yeah. They just they
teams that
don't
make
get
the season
close
6
enough.
land.
And then
Yeah,
what are you looking at if you're an IP and you're going, what's happening now?
yeah.
So
And it's one of these things too, where it's like, what is going on at Biggie Keeper? Like, do they need an offer? Can they bring in,
well, didn't they already
you know,
brought in Paula, who used to play
Paulie?
Paulie,
But
yeah.
Paulie's not an offer.
No, but she came from NIP. What I'm saying is there's a connection
Right.
there of like,
Yeah, you're right. And they're communicating in English now,
yeah,
right? That's
as a result.
B Dog's insights actually
Yes.
were pretty interesting on that
Impact
episode.
Insights with B Dog.
Yes, go watch them. They're great, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of these things where if that's the case, then maybe there's a spot on the team. Now, I don't know who the offer on that team is. Is it D7
I have
or
no
is
idea.
it
I couldn't tell you. I could
Zana
not
who's
begin to
on
tell
that
you.
team? But yeah, it's
It wasn't
one of these
Zana.
things where
I don't think it was Zana.
I think it might have been D7
I
then.
think it might have been.
But it's one of these things where it's like, well, they could probably continue with D7. She's a decent offer too, but there's going to be options for her. And if you're a team that wants to make a change or thinking about making a change, or you need an offer, you're not going to get an opportunity like this. You need to seriously think about picking her up, I think.
Yeah. News continues to be sad, as well as you lose one player, you also lose a whole team. G2 Oya
Yeah.
has been dropped from
Oh no,
the squad. So
this is low-hanging fruit. Okay.
I think looking at this squad, there's a lot of good to take from it. You had experience, you had players coming in that were very good as well. So it's unfortunate to see them go. I mean, a lot of people were saying, and this is kind of looking at it from a outside perspective of G2 expects to have very competitive rosters, and unfortunately G2 Oya just kind of weren't there developmentally to face off against the top 3. They were very competitive across the season, but just when it came time to getting that kind of getting over the top, they never really seemed to be able to. It's unfortunate. I think these players will bounce back because this is a good squad, and they've all said like, hey, we're gonna stick together for next season. Of course, we're all free agents and everything, but we'd rather play together than go our separate ways. So that's good to hear from them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of these things where I just said that, like, there's a world where NIP finished 6 out of the 5 teams that are vying for the spot in season 6. G2 Oya aren't even in the conversation, mate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean they really haven't been. They've been competitive against. They've been very middle of the pack, I think. And G2, you're right. I think they're the team that wants a championship contender. I don't think they're interested in Impact anymore. G2. I think they're just pulling the plug. I
They
think.
might be.
I mean, they haven't announced a replacement Impact roster.
No.
Wouldn't have expected them to announce a replacement Impact roster. Even like if you're anything, you get that announcement in a whole other month's time, right? So, but it's one of these things where like I don't think G2 are going to continue investing in Impact. I think they're just done, and I'm interested to see what happens with these players because they've bounced back and forth between the two games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the game changers. Impact is clearly shrinking.
Yes.
And game changers
do the same.
Yes, but not to the same effect. I think, right? So it's tough, but you know, I look at this team. I'm glad they want to stick together. That always makes things easier on getting picked up again. But I'm like Parks. I don't see him being competitive, man. I don't see him being competitive, and that might be the big hurdle for a lot of orgs.
I think
so
I think that's who knows? That's a hurdle that they've got to overcome, right? Is showing that they can really fight and scrap against the top teams and try and get towards the playoff spot. It's nice to be middle of the pack. Unfortunately, we're not in the Premier League where you earn millions regardless. So, shout out all those teams that get 10th place every single year and are like, yeah, we did it. It's like
never West Ham.
Sure,
never West Ham.
Never a dull moment with West Ham. Whether
no,
they be
you're either on the cusp of European qualification
or getting relegated,
or you're fighting for your life in the Premier League. Yeah, there is no middle of the pack.
There is no middle of the pack, which is a few heart attacks here or there doesn't matter to anybody. Speaking of other rosters going on the way here, we're kind of moving forward. We've known this one for a long time. EG Gold are disbanding. Yeah. It's not like the G2 Oya side where they're going to stick together. This roster's gone.
That's unfortunate.
We've got Sevenlicious has put out a looking for team. Vanessa's put out a looking for team. Benikage put out a looking for team. Yuli has not yet, and neither has Milky. I'll be honest, I don't expect Milky to put one out. I think she's kind of done. I'm not saying in terms of. I'm saying in terms of her. I'm not saying. Oh yeah, she's on the way out because she sucks. I think she's probably just moving on to a different phase of her life, where you reach that certain point where you're like, you know what, I can't make enough money to justify this, and even if I do love it, like, I gotta do something else. Whether that be in the esports space or not, like you pick up a lot of useful skills over such a long career as that. The other one that hasn't put out one, as I said, Yuli. She's way too good to like just kind of sit on the sidelines. I don't know what it looks like for her to come back because, in all honesty, like she should be earning FlyQuest Red money. Like she's that good. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Is like
she used to earn FlyQuest Red money.
She used to earn FlyQuest Red money. But I don't think there's any team in North America that's gonna bite on that because there really just isn't anyone big enough to support.
There's no other team players willing to throw FlyQuest Red money at players in North America, unfortunately.
So we'll see where she goes. She might just be the same thing where she moves into a different stage of her life and
she transitioned out of that from at the time CLG, right?
Yeah.
And so like that offer of that lifestyle is back on the table again. She's what I mean. So
there you go.
It's something that she might take.
And I mean, she's still young. She's 20. She turned 24 today. So
I know. That's
the crazy bit is she could come back probably in like 2 years and like obviously have a little bit of time to acclimate and get back into CS2. Like she could take a break for a bit, come back, and she could probably still be really good. And it's just one of those things. So it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, for now the other three are looking for team. My guess is Tilda Sevenlish is going to be looking for a team in Europe. I don't think she's going to come back anytime soon. Nobody can.
I feel bad for her because she uprooted her life, and 4 months later.
Well, we had that whole thing with Jessica as well, where she lost thousands and thousands of dollars because EG forced them to move and all that. So I have very little sympathy for EG the org. I have a lot of sympathy for the players who took the chance and they made the move. She looked very good in Valencia. At least she participated on the desk.
She's a good player.
On the desk she was an analyst. Remember, in the final day, she was an analyst. So I thought that was pretty cool. She also got a medal of some sort, I think, when she got home. So I don't know. There's a lot. I think there's a lot of interest for her as a player over there as well. Maybe she links up with NIP.
I agree.
We'll have to just wait and see.
Hey,
it's one of those things, right?
The interesting thing too is where Vanessa goes. I think this is a player as well that is really, really, really
Yeah.
like Vanessa's on the edge to me. Vanessa's a player who is so good, but she just hasn't broken into like the freakish levels yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can see the potentials there for her to be like the
Yeah.
next big rifler in NA. Like Vanessa's honestly a player that if she continues to play the game and a year from now FlyQuest decide to make a roster change,
She'd probably
Vanessa
be.
could be the person that slides in
I
to that
see that.
roster.
I do see that as
Yeah,
well.
you
So
know what I mean?
it'd
Like
be a very
that's
interesting one for sure to see what
I
happens.
agree. I agree. I want to move on to Piki Kiki as well because I think the Piki Kiki situation is interesting because I talk about, you know, Astra in Europe, and if you need an offer, I think Piki Kiki is the same thing in North America. I think if you look at players who have improved in North America,
Yeah.
and there are loads over the last year that have really improved, but Piki Kiki was on a roster that was pretty much dead and buried at the start of the new year,
Yeah.
and she didn't look good. She wasn't competitive, and she brought a lot as the op as this like op hybrid to the
Yeah.
table. She's no Skadoodle, granted, but it
Nobody could be
is,
Skadaddy.
but it is like I think she's really improved, and I think
Yeah.
you talk about player being young. She's also extremely young as
Very,
well.
very young. Yeah.
So I think if a team wants to take the chance on having an op like that, or having a hybrid player like that, or a secondary op, which she's played that role before, then they should definitely look at her. I
Yeah.
think there's an opportunity for her to keep playing. I would like her to keep playing. I don't know if she does.
Yeah. It's one of those things of like, it's kind of the weird conundrum of like she's so young that like she could have just done this for a little bit, gone, yeah, that was fun. I'm kind of bored now, and she can go and she still has the rest of her life to live,
It's
right?
Yeah, it's one of these things where she never originally wanted to compete, or
Hmm.
I wouldn't say. Oh, my Discord just froze there. Sorry. She never wanted to originally compete, and Jess kind of helped convince her, "Hey, you should compete,"
Right.
and she did. And I don't know, like Piggy Kiki seems like she's very reserved. These are
Yeah.
presumptions, by the way. This is
Yeah.
not fact. This is
We
just
don't know
me
anything.
logically trying to
I
deduce
don't
some
think I've
things.
actually ever had a conversation with her. So like,
Right,
let's
and
put it that
I
way.
think that's the way. I think she's very reserved,
Yeah.
so she might not have made a not lot of friends in this scene,
Yeah.
and that means that she might not really get looked at by a lot of teams because of that. And I think that might be the issue that she has
Right.
in trying to get into other rosters. So we'll see if
That
she gets
is.
picked up. I would like to see her keep playing, but I think for her it's going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah. And we'll just keep watching. That's all we do, right? We keep an eye out for everybody, and we'll see kind of what hits the ground first. So that's all of EG kind of talked about. The last one we kind of missed this one at the start. Ultima Ronda did an awards for
Yes, let's
the
start with some happens. It's a palate cleanser. It's not a
palette
miss. It's a
cleanser.
palate cleanser, right? So we
And
talked about all the sad stuff.
this one is for the Argentinian players, I want to say.
Yes, Argentinian Counter Strike Players of the Year for the women's side.
Yeah. So coming in at number 3, China. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, they have her listed as a free agent and everything. That's kind of where we are on the timeline now. China is officially a free agent. Coming
Yep.
in at second is Izia?
Giza,
Iza,
Giza.
who plays for MIBR as well. And then the number 1 rated Argentinian CS women's player is Lulitens, coming in from
Yes.
W7N. So
Yes.
huge congratulations to her. Huge congratulations to all 3 of them.
That, by the way, is a great picture of Lily Tens with the
Yes,
heart
it
over
is.
the Argentinian
It's a
flag. That's
great photo.
fantastic.
I think
Yeah.
it's a very interesting when you compare Argentina to Brazil is Canada to the US, if that makes sense in terms of Counter-Strike, where
Yes,
you don't really ever get a full team of them, but there's kind of a few of them picked
who are like super quality.
super quality.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you could ever make a really top Canada team as you could like a North America, like a US team. It's just the scene isn't that deep, I guess, or like the players all kind of
Yeah.
playing the same roles and fits. Like the closest we're getting is right now where we have Twists and Naf together again, and like they have a Danish man, a Brazilian, and then another.
Sounds like old Team Liquid with Taco in it. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but they didn't have a Danish man with them.
No, but still,
That would
point is,
back in the day, but yeah. No, but it's very interesting. Just like the Argentine, contingent, they augment the rest of the Brazilian squads, but these are very good players that have a lot of impact on their teams. And you could, like we saw with Team Argentina, like they can form a team on their own and do really, really well. So I don't think we'd ever see that, but it's really cool to see that they have such a thriving scene, augmented off the Brazilian
yes,
one, and how supportive
yes,
they are of each other, which is really, really cool.
yeah. That's kind of like eventually. I just think it's going to be difficult with the economic situation in some of those countries, as you could say with any region in the world. But I think like you have ooh, I think it's Valulu,
Mm-hmm.
who's Uruguayan, I want to say. So
Right.
you have like even other nationalities down there. We know the Peruvians play in North America. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just want to see us expand into these countries. Like, where's the Chilean players at? I think I know the answer, but you know what I mean. The answer, not negative, just the answer is that Chile is very significantly poorer than the other two, Argentina and Brazil. However, I say that Argentina is going through a massive financial crisis. Nonetheless, irrelevant to the conversation mainly. But the point is, like, you know, Paraguay, Uruguay, these other teams, it'd be interested I think it would be great if we saw the scene expand and you see these players come from those countries as well and really, like you said, augment themselves onto other
Yeah.
sides. So I think that's I think it would be great for the scene. But like you said, it's great that Argentina does produce teams. They've produced teams even at the tier 1 level before, like competing, not qualifying, but competing for majors, maybe qualifying as like an 8 seed to a North American online tournament. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're definitely around. But yeah, it's great to see that they first off are awarded by somebody for their efforts, and then second off also that they have the quality to find themselves in these Brazilian sides. So. I
Um.
think that was good.
Yeah. Well, we've come to the final bit of news, and it's
Yes.
probably the most personal one here. It was not a best. I swear we did not save this one best for last. It was literally somebody forgot to put it on the list, and so I had to
It's
remind him.
okay. I told you why. I got a call literally in the middle of making the list, like
Yeah,
right at the end
I
of
know,
making
but
the
it's
list,
really funny.
and I wanted to end the podcast on it, so I didn't put
You
it
didn't move it.
on there until the
Listen,
very end.
I
So
appreciate it. There's a Dust 2 article out from our good friend Gonzalo. Shimmer announced new general manager and interim head coach. The search for the organization intensifies.
it's me.
It's me. I'm your general manager slash head coach,
It's him.
interim head coach of the Shimmer squad. Yeah, I mean,
It's that guy.
it's this guy right here.
Yeah.
I'm the pundit who put his face forward and said I could do that, and so now I'm doing it.
He got a level 1 chat, and he's just like,
The
I can
announcement
do it
came out.
all.
The announcement came out immediately after hitting level 2 because
Yeah,
I knew
exactly, right?
there is no other rush that you get from that. No, um, it's interesting. I mean, I haven't really done much yet. It's so new. I know for a fact that they're doing tryouts right now because there are still only 4 people on that roster. But I can't say much on that kind of stuff because it's a team thing. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting in the near future. I mean, I had the conversations before of like, what does this look like moving forward? What am I doing with my time? I'm still planning on casting and everything like that. Like that's not going to stop. I have to wear multiple hats to support the scene in any way possible.
We all do.
And at the end of the day, it's literally I'm trying to find them a home. Like I'm trying to find them a home that will be good for them and isn't just going to try and pump and dump kind of thing. I'm hoping for a little bit of longevity with this. And I'm trying to make sure that they understand what they're getting themselves into because that's the whole thing, right?
It's crazy.
It's not going to happen.
Longevity is the word.
Oh no, I Canada that so hard.
Canada did. Yeah, that's true.
No, so just I don't know. It's an interesting experience, and I mean, I was in Valencia with them, so I had a lot of talks regarding. Like we had a lot of conversation. I went out drinking with them quite a few times. It was just one of those things of like through conversations, just like they were upset. They were upset, and they really want organizational support, right? They want somebody to cheer for them. Like they want somebody in their corner. And I just kind of at one point I was just like, I gotta help them.
Coach.
Yeah, I gotta help them. Like this is one of those things of like I'm 2 drinks deep. I'm doing this, and I knew what I said, and I did not ever want to go back on it. So that's how I knew it was the right decision.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, bro. I ain't reading all that. No, just teasing. But I am happy for you. and I think they have a good general manager. I think he actually would make a great general manager.
I mean, I am a
think
co-owner of an organization already, so like I'm
yes,
partial the
yes,
way there. I think.
yes. So you have a good mind for things in talking to you off the record. So
Yeah.
I have every confidence in your ability as a general manager. I think they need somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think be interested to see who you guys eventually do pick up as a coach.
If we pick
And
up
who
anybody, maybe they like me enough and I'll stay. Maybe
probably
we
should
can
pick
just
up a
add this
coach.
to the repertoire. Let me just keep adding
Listen,
titles.
I heard Icy's available, but
No.
at the end of
We're
the
not
day,
doing
I'd still
Icy.
pick you.
I
Shout
think
out Icy though.
Icy would do. You know what? Honestly, Icy would do great analyst work. I'm not sure he's what they'd want in a coach because you have to remember they had Snav as a coach already, and like I said, there was talks about kind of what they were looking for in a coach, and we have a consensus on what we're looking for moving forward. Icy would be a great analyst for them, but I don't think he would be the right coach. I think that's kind of
that's fair.
There's a
That's
maturity
fair.
level, and there's also like
I'm
a
just having a
seniority.
dig on the pod at Icy.
Yeah,
because
he's not gonna
he
watch
has a
it.
dig at me all the time.
Yeah, and he's not gonna
I
watch
gotta get
it.
it back.
The greatest part is Icy will never see this unless we specifically point it out to him, or somebody in LCA points it out to him. So if you do point it out to him, we'll know which one of you did it because he'll come to us and he'll berate us.
We're not going to come after you if you do. I'm not going to come
I think it'll be hilarious. Because then we know
really funny.
we know you in the organization supports the podcast.
Yep. But look, at the end of the day, like I say, I'm happy for you. I think Shimmer are, I'm interested to see who they pick up as their fifth, and I'm interested to see. I think you guys do need a coach, but I'd be interested to see who you pick up as. Yeah, I'd be interested to see who you pick up as a coach. I think there's plenty of talent out there. And I think it's a good look moving forward. So you get your ego stroked with a Dust 2 article. And listen, to all the viewers on the podcast, right? I just want to say, he becomes a general manager / coach, and he immediately brings out the what do you call it?
The Dust 2 article?
No, the sweatshirt. The Bill Belichick sweatshirt.
Oh yeah.
The gray brings out the Bill Belichick sweatshirt.
The gray.
You gotta cut the sleeves off on it now. Like,
I'll get this
on
my
tatter
head.
the hood.
This will become tattered eventually. Don't worry.
Yep. It's gotta get ripped in 1,000 places.
Red 52. What? No, Brady, not that play.
Does that mean plant the bomb? Does that mean
something like that?
Yeah. So beep. You make a playbook that's just like NFL's.
You know what? Every single strat will be
just
the name.
title it Omaha. No, and that's all it has.
All right, guys. Mirage Omaha. You mean default?
Omaha.
Yes.
All the plays are literally known by how many times you call Omaha.
Yeah.
Between
you start spamming. I say Omaha 10 times. Like, oh shit, was it 10 or 9 times? I don't know yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. And I mean, like I said, they're doing tryouts right now. They're trying to figure it out. Like, we'll see. I can't say anything. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not responsible for team roster decisions. I'm just responsible for getting them a home. That's where it's at. We're getting them a home.
That's fair. So, I hope they do find it too.
I hope they find it.
So I'm helping. If any works want to come through, I mean, serious chance at making season 5.
You get me. So you get me.
And you get Parks.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want Parks?
Who doesn't want?
Aside from Micey.
But that's rough. That is rough.
Nonetheless, that's all the news.
That's everything.
Special announcement: we're cooking for episode 34, so we're gonna do our own awards.
Yeah.
Or style,
not awards.
Style of our own.
We're doing a top 20.
Top 20, which is awards to me. Yeah. So we're doing our own top 20 next episode. Looking forward to that. But before then, I gotta ask you, Parks, what are you watching?
I'm watching the Shimmer Girls do their trials. I'm actually today was a bit of because of the podcast. Didn't join them today, but I know coming up in the next few days, like I'll be doing the podcast. I'll be stepping in, at least watching from the back lines. They joke and they say you get to see how truly unhinged we are and how dysfunctional of a family we are. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Like that,
every team is like that at some point. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. Like, I'm excited for that. There's not much else going on really to end the season. Not watching so much as playing. I'm trying to end the year level 3. We'll see what happens. I met my goal level 2. I want to get to level 3 to end off the year. I'm 160 away, and the rate I'm going. I mean, I earned 130 yesterday, so that's 7. I went 7-1. I don't think that's happening again.
Worrying about Elo, man. torturing yourself.
It's a bit of a personal thing though, because like I know I'm that good.
I get
can
it.
get
No, I
there.
get it.
It's
But
a
I'm just
goal.
saying,
I'm
like,
setting the goals, right?
people,
Like we got
people like really fret over it, and I'm
I
like,
don't
you
fret
gotta...
over it. I don't care that much about it. I'm just like I want to get there. I want to show that I can do it for myself, kind of thing. Benny,
I believe in you, bro.
what are you watching? What are you doing
Well,
to
look,
end the
I
year?
haven't sworn this whole episode, so I gotta ruin the perfect record, right?
Yeah.
I ain't watching shit, bro. So, listen, there's nothing going on for 2 weeks. I am taking the full. I intend to grind harder
Yeah.
next season, right? Next year, I should say, right? So I did, I think, about 150 games this past year.
Yeah.
And I want to do a lot more.
Game a
I
day.
finished the year on 129.
Game a
So
day.
not a game, maybe not a game a day. My streams will be, but like, I'm going to go back to broadcasting ESCA VODs. I want to go back to doing that.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that everyone finds it weird, and I'm like, well, guys, I'm sorry, I work and time zones are a thing.
Yeah.
But and pay is a thing. But I'm gonna. So my intention is that I'm gonna grind harder next year.
Yeah.
Given that that's the case, it means that I have to enjoy the time off that I have when I have it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I intend to do the next 2 weeks. I'll be watching West Ham probably lose to Arsenal tomorrow. I'll be watching, I'll be streaming a lot. So I have so many goals for 2024 Parks. Personally, like between trading, reading more, I want to exercise. I'm actually signing up for the gym tomorrow.
Hey.
It'll be I'm going Friday. So it'll be my first time I actually go to the gym in like 10 years because I am really fat and I need to lose weight.
That's,
so it's like,
you know what, that's huge. I just want to, we did the same thing with the podcast, just consistency. That's what you need.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I've established consistency this year in reading. I fell off the wagon a little bit in the summer, but like getting back to that consistency with streaming, consistency with casting, like that's what I want to do. So, while I have 3 weeks where I don't have to do any of that, I'm going to enjoy those 3 weeks to do stuff that I won't have the chance to do once that grind starts.
Oh,
and then I'll just make sure that those weeks we get in between seasons, then I'll enjoy them again. You know what I mean? So
100%.
That's my intention. That's what I'm watching. I think we're cooking for 2024. I think it's going to be big. So we're going to achieve a lot. Both you personally, both me personally, and this podcast, I think, will as well. So
2024 is our year, just like 2023 was our year. Every year is our year.
It's not. Listen, people say that, and just on a personal note, because I know we're trying to end.
Yeah,
it really was. Like it really. 2023 was a very good year for me, and I'm glad it was for you as well. Like I can only speak. I mean, for us collectively on the podcast, I thought it was. I can only speak for myself, right? But I think, I did a lot of things in 2023 that I never would have thought I would have been able to accomplish. Investing wise and hitting goals, reading books that I never thought I would read the amount that I have. Like, you know what I mean? And I think I want more of that because once you taste a little bit of success, it's about replicating that. 100%. So it's like, I think 2024, I want to kick that into hyperdrive. So awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
And I'm really looking forward to you succeeding in all your new adventures as well.
Well, speaking of those adventures, I'm trying to get out of here to try and join them on the last few scrims. I still got a few going, so I'm going to try and get them over
Let's get out of here.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in a fortnight's time with our top 20 to get ready for season 5. Until then, take care.